Hey guys, Dr. Calvin here with the CaneRx. In this video, I'm going to cover how we'd use the CaneRx to take care of a condition in the bottom of the foot, the arch of the foot. Most commonly, the problem would be plantar fasciitis. And what that is typically just an accrual of damage that you've attained through the years on the bottom of that foot, and it's just not, things just aren't gliding, things just aren't moving as smooth as they should. And so we're going to go after that with that compression distension technique thoroughly, and we're going to do that often. And what you're going to do is you're going to target, there's essentially three main areas in the bottom of that foot that you're going to target. So if I'm looking at the bottom of the foot, and here's the ball of the foot, and here's that inside arch, so this one right in here, that's the main line. So behind the ball of the foot, and I'm going to use that line there to the heel, okay? That's going to be my primary line. I mean, if you have just time to do this one time a day, that's the line you're going to hit. Next, you're just going to move it over into the middle, and the last would be the outside. Again, starting behind sort of the ball of the small toe, the small ball of the foot, over in here, and then working that outside line of that fascial area. And how we're going to do it is we're using the ball portion is the easiest. The cane is set up with all sorts of points for plantar fasciitis, and I'll show you some of those alternative ways of doing it, but the ball is going to be the easiest. And I'm just going to plant my foot on top of the ball. Right behind the ball of my foot is where I'm starting on that inside arch, inside portion of the arch, and I'm just going to lean into that until I get to that threshold. Now, if I'm sitting and I'm not able to obtain threshold, stand up so you can get more of your body weight in there. And so I'm going to push down, and you're typically going to be able to obtain threshold that way. So threshold, again, let it fade, and then we're going to move a fraction of an inch. This is critical that we use that compression to distension technique for the fasciitis. And you will be waiting on some of these areas for a very long time. If you're waiting for more than a minute, please start over. But don't be surprised if you're waiting to around a minute for each of these spots, especially in the beginning. As this tissue gets healthier, and this is throughout, by the way, the time it takes for that distension to occur will reduce. A, you'll be able to go deeper into the tissue, and B, it will reduce and from that threshold much faster, distend much faster as that tissue starts to regain health. So again, pressure, threshold, let it fade, move it a fraction of an inch, pressure, threshold, let it fade. We do one spot at a time. We're not getting fancy and just rolling it back and forth. We're going to work all the way back to the heel, and sometimes even back up in here to this area. If you haven't watched the calf compression distension technique, please go and watch that, because I want you working on the calf as well, especially if you've had chronic plantar fasciitis. I want you working on both ends. And then you would, again, so you finish that medial line, and you're just going to move more to the middle, and we're going to do that line. We just want to do one line at a time, and then you would move to the outside. And the cool thing, the balls on the cane here, they're not going anywhere. So they're not sliding out from underneath you, which is nice. So if you just do it with a golf ball, that thing can slide all over the place and be kind of annoying. The other points on the cane that make this work is this one is my favorite. So I'll extend that out to the last spot before the scissor function, and I'm just going to use that part there. And I can just pull back here. I can pull back with my neck. I can get this in my neck and start doing neck stuff and foot stuff at the same time. So I'm getting both ends of the spectrum. But I can just get that going with that little knobby there with the compression distension for that plantar fasciitis. You can use the roller stick portion. I would prefer you doing the ball, but you can just take that roller stick portion out, and again, you're doing the same thing. You're just stepping on it, threshold, let it fade, threshold, let it fade, so on and so forth. Breaking down that fascia. Now, what you will notice is after you work the bottom of the foot, that fascia out, you're going to also want to stretch it. What you will notice is relief. It'll feel like it's smoother relatively quick. If not after the first session, probably after the first 4 to 6 sessions, you're going to start noticing relief. The moment you sit down for a while, it's going to sort of resume like a contracted or shortened state. Expect that to happen. Anticipate doing this technique at least once, but maybe up to 4 times a day to get it to resolve. You typically have had it for a very long time once you're starting this technique, and it'll take you a while, around 6 weeks, to get it resolved. Once it resolves, it will feel good for a time. Within about 6 months, it will return. It will feel the same. It will want to fool you in thinking that it didn't work the first time. It absolutely did. And you're going to start this therapy right away on that reoccurrence, and it's going to dissipate within days of that second reoccurrence. That's what we see in the office oftentimes. And is learning this technique is going to be so valuable, because once you develop plantar fasciitis, the likelihood of that sort of reoccurring is pretty high, but you'll nip it right in the bud learning this technique and learning what to do. The calf stretch, if you haven't watched the calf video, please go and watch that, because I want you doing that compression distension technique up that calf. But after we do the plantar fasciitis work on the ball or the roller stick or the cane, whatever you choose, we're going to come over and we're going to also just stretch that calf, get into that, either that simple stretch there with the stride stretch, with this leg is straight, I'm stretching that calf in the back there. And or my favorite, if you've got the block or if you've made something that is a 45 here that you can just sort of pull into that calf stretch, you're going to want to stretch that calf regardless for 30 seconds after you do the compression to distension technique for that plantar fasciitis. I hope that helps. Leave any comments and questions down below. And good luck and have a great day. Thank you.